None of these senators are criminals. They have no criminal activity associated with them whatsoever. FBI Director Patel says the DOJ under the last administration subpoenaed phone records from 8 sitting senators, and it's not just them. So sounds like we're going to get some more information. How many other people did they spy on? Who knows? It could be anything. They are the Democrats after all. Here, let's give this a listen.
Step back and think about it for a second. You have, as you now know, 8 sitting United States senators whose phone records were subpoenaed by the Department of Justice in the prior administration. For what? For what purpose? None of these senators are criminals. They have no criminal activity associated with them whatsoever. Why did the Department of Justice and Jack Smith go in there and authorize subpoenas? And it's not just them, there's others. And so what we're doing in our transparency, in our commitment to transparency, and our initiative at FBI and DOJ is putting the records out, providing them to Congress, letting them conduct oversight. But we will also internally investigate those involved. We've already disbanded the Public Corruption Squad at WFO. We've already jettisoned the FBI that were involved in the politicization of law enforcement. And if there needs to be a criminal investigation, you better believe it, we're on it.
I certainly hope so. AG Pam Bondi, I still have a bit of faith left in her. And I honestly didn't have a chance to check out the hearing today. It was about 5 hours, and I am going to link that in the description below. So let me see what it starts with. Okay, so before I get to that, let me play this from Chuck Grassley, who chairs the committee. Also, real quick, I will also show that this is on C-SPAN, the entire hearing with AG Pam Bondi. And she testifies to the Senate Judiciary Committee today. And it says she testified before the Committee on Oversight of the Justice Department. She shared her concerns about law enforcement not being paid due to... Here, let me make this a little bigger for you. That way you can read along. So, not being paid due to the federal government shutdown, and fielded questions on numerous topics, including reports of the Justice Department under President Biden subpoenaing phone records of Republican senators, the current indictment of former FBI Director James Comey by her Justice Department, the legality of deploying the National Guard to American cities, also the Epstein files, the border czar Tom Homan with regard to that $50,000 bribe, which Trump's DOJ, they insist, and also Trump's FBI also insist that he never took the money, that they tried to set him up, Biden's FBI and Biden's government. Anyway, they tried to set him up, and he didn't take the bait. At least that's according to them. Not saying that's definitive. I'm just saying that's the Attorney General's take on it. Also, they're covering political speech amongst other topics in this hearing. So in total, let me just get a link for you. 4 hours and 38 minutes in total here. But this will be linked cspan.org if you want to check it out below. Also, this is on judiciary.senate.gov, the oversight of the Department of Justice. They also have it here, too, if you'd rather watch it over here. This video is 5 hours and 4 minutes. It started at 9 a.m. this morning, of course, because AM is in the morning. And the only witness was Pamela Bondi. You can download her testimony here. It's a PDF. It's like 3 pages or 2.5 pages, if you want to check that out also. So let's just get straight to this.
Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley who unearthed all of this. And Senator Lummis told us earlier today, Senator, that when the Deputy Director of the FBI, Dan Bongino, came to Capitol Hill and laid out the surveillance of these 8 senators and 1 House member, they were all utterly gobsmacked.
Yes, for sure.
That's a bombshell.
I first found out about this last Thursday and arranged this meeting for my colleagues, 8 of them, to be briefed by the FBI, and they were totally shocked that Jack Smith, at the time that he was prosecuting Trump as a citizen at that time, so we're talking about the 23-24 time frame, they solicited the phone numbers and who they talked to from these 8 senators. It's a violation of privacy. We're getting the FBI to get us further information. They said they'd give us more information by the end of the week. Then I'll have to decide what I'm going to do, but I think I have a reputation for following the facts where they lead us and get to a conclusion. And this information was given to us by a whistleblower. So it just shows you how important it is people lower levels in the FBI to
Well, we got the whistleblower laws for a reason.
On people that were violating the law and breaking all.
Not that they really uphold it very often.
To get this information.
Senator Lummis, when she joined us earlier, alluded to the fact that she believes that there could be more others out there. There could be more targeted members of Congress.
Oh, you know there are.
The GOP
of course there are.
That were targeted here. Do you have any reason to believe that?
I don't, but the FBI is going to follow up on that as a result of our briefing yesterday. That's what they promised, and you can be sure that I'll follow up on it. But right now, I don't know of any more than the 8 people. One of them was a congressman, Kelly.
Look, my big question is, what charges could they bring, and to who? Who could they criminally charge for this? Could they criminally charge Biden? I would somehow doubt it. I don't think that they probably would because he was the president at the time. But maybe I'm completely wrong. I'm just really curious. Maybe they're probably not prepared to go that far yet. We haven't really got to that point yet. They just want to uncover everything as far as who exactly have they been spying on. We started with 8 senators. Are we going to get into representatives in Congress? And, where does it lead? Trump's extended family? Maybe colleagues of Trump and their extended family. Maybe they spied on the Trump campaign once again. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
From Congressman Mike Kelly, but the rest of them are all senators, yes.
Senator, you had a very fiery briefing this morning with the Attorney General.
It's really odd they would just
Pam
spy on
Bondi,
those
but
senators.
In the middle of that, you were asked a question by the good senator from Louisiana, John Kennedy, about these allegations regarding FBI surveillance. I just want to replay that moment here.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
may I ask you a question?
If I can
Sure.
answer it, yes.
Are you going to hold a separate hearing on your whistleblower account of the FBI investigation of 8 United States senators?
I think we need to wait until we see what the FBI can report and whether it's necessary to have a hearing.
You said a moment ago, Senator, that you're hoping to get more information from the FBI, but on your point where you said, and whether it's necessary to have a hearing, I think all of the people who were targeted by this surveillance, they absolutely have a hearing.
Well, yeah.
Yes, but
I would think.
we have to have good information before we have the hearing. It seems to me to wait for the FBI to do its job.
Yeah,
but you can
that's
be
fair.
Certain that with Chuck Grassley's reputation,
Find out what else they
following
got.
the facts where they lead us, we're not going to leave a stone unturned.
Got it. Senator, appreciate your time today.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught with your pants downers.
Thank you.
Because
All right, Virginia Democrat.
Yeah, because for all we know, maybe they might uncover more information that found out that, they were they were spied on for the period of 1 minute and 24 seconds or something. Or perhaps maybe it didn't even get to the point where they were actually listening in on the phones. Maybe the process stopped at some certain point. I highly doubt it. I'm sure they were spying on them, but for how long? For days? For weeks? And why? And what 8? So I have yet to hear what exactly these 8 senators have in common. Why did they specifically pick these 8? Because I don't think that, they're definitely not in President Trump's cabinet right now. And I don't think that they were campaigning directly on his behalf during his 2024 campaign. So I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Chuck Grassley said we should be getting more information by the end of the week from the FBI. At least he will. I don't know if all of us are going to be getting it just yet, but I'm assuming more is going to come out over the next week or so. So anyway, moving on to the hearing from Mike Lee. Leftists in the streets attack ICE while leftists in office try to make it easier for them. So I just grabbed some clips from it, of course, being 4 hours long. Not going to be able to watch all of it, so I grabbed some of the highlights that I caught on the X platform, just going through the lists and everything throughout the day. So this came out 8 hours ago. Most of these are going to be at least 8 hours and when they were posted. So let's give this a quick watch.
Hundreds of organized rioters, Senator Lee, are showing up where our ICE officers are. And as you know, they have fireworks, they have gas masks. They don't want our officers to be protected with their identity. Yet
you know what? That's a fair point.
Masks, they're wearing goggles.
That's a good point, actually.
And they're
so it's okay for them
car.
to be safe. It's okay for Antifa to be safe.
Yeah. And you know what? I've been watching that stuff. Like I said yesterday, you can go on YouTube and watch live down in Portland, all the shit that's going on, because there's YouTubers down there live streaming all of it. And she's absolutely right. They all wear gas masks. They're all covered up. And they not only wear the gas masks for the pepper spray, but they're also wearing them just to conceal their identity, because that's what Antifa does. They don't want to be identified because they break the law and do all kinds of shit. So, yeah, that seems to make perfect sense that if Antifa, if they're going to cover up their faces and try to protect their identities, why can't the federal government do the same thing? That doesn't seem all that fair.
It's okay for those doing the bidding of international violent drug cartels to be safe, but heaven forbid our ICE officers should be safe.
Yep, because Antifa, at the end of the day, not saying they work directly for the Democratic Party, but their antics certainly doesn't hurt the ultimate agenda of the Democratic Party, which seems to be just turn everything upside down, burn it all down to the ground, try to seize as much power as we possibly can in the process, and start this magical communist utopia anew and see where it goes. Which for 99% of us, it would be an absolute dystopia. So, all right, so this is the next one, Senate, Judiciary, Democrats. Matter of fact, I actually got more from Democrats than I got from Republicans. I was trying to get 50-50, but I think I grabbed maybe one or two more from the Democrat side than from the Republican side. Not really sure, but I don't understand why, but Republicans weren't really posting a whole lot about this hearing today for some reason. It was definitely from the Democrats. They posted a lot of stuff with regard to this hearing, at least clips, different video clips. So this is of Senator Klobuchar. Do you support raising the age to 21 to purchase assault weapons? Bondi, I won't discuss pending litigation. Senator Klobuchar, your views are not pending litigation. Now, I didn't see the whole hearing. I really hope, because you know the antics that Democrats are involved with, I hope they don't chop this up all over the place. Hopefully it's just a straight up 43-second clip where it's uninterrupted, so that way I get to hear what she says. But they do have a pretty bad habit of cutting out way too much information before it starts, cutting out way too much after, and they kind of cherry pick little talking points here and there. Republicans, yes, they do it too, especially, when it comes to Democrat antics. It just seems that the Democrats are way more nefarious at it. But anyway, let's at least give this a try and see.
Illegal guns.
I have 10 minutes.
30,000.
You have
Senator
given these
Klobuchar.
statistics, and I truly appreciate those statistics. But what I was just trying to get at was something where maybe we could find common ground on a bill that you actually defended in court in a state, which Director Patel seemed open to, and that was looking at, could we at least raise the age to 21 of the purchase of an assault weapon federally, while states look at banning these weapons overall, given these little babies that this gun is used to kill. So we can talk about it later, but that was my question. And you.
I don't think that. Are you talking about the transgender shooter that was shooting at the children at the Catholic school? I don't think they used an AR-15, did they? Or I'm sorry, an assault weapon. And plus, there's nothing in the Constitution. Why doesn't Congress amend the Constitution for the Second Amendment? I mean, God forbid, because if we got that far, I mean, God knows what would end up happening to it. But there's nothing in there that says you have to be 18 years old or a legal adult or anything like that. Although we can commonly agree that if you're under the age of 18, probably shouldn't be buying any kind of firearm. Look, a lot of people would even push back against that and say, look, that doesn't say anything in the Second Amendment. It should be absolute. If you want to, look, you can buy guns for your kids. They just can't be in possession of them when they're out and about. I'm sure there's plenty of state laws, probably even in my state in Florida, you have to be, actually, I know for a fact, I believe you have to be 21 years old to possess a handgun in Florida and 18 to possess a rifle in Florida. But here, let me just finish this out.
No, it's pending litigation, Senator.
Okay, but your views on this is not pending litigation. So I really.
All right, well, that didn't really go anywhere. I mean, that's not really, I don't know how that's really related to anything other than the recent shootings, very few of which actually involved a quote-unquote assault weapon or a high magazine capacity rifle, whatever they want to call it. I honestly can't think of one. Look, maybe perhaps at the church shooting in Minnesota, maybe they used an AR-15, but I don't think they did. But maybe they did. You know what? I'll just give it to you and say that they did. But there was also the Charlie Kirk shooting where he used a bolt-action rifle, and then there was the Dallas ICE facility where the bolt-action rifle was used. Not sure about the Mormon church shooting. That may have also been an AR-15. I'm not for sure. But anyway, whatever. I don't want to get too hung up on that because there's quite a few of these to get through. Anyway, Senator Dick Durbin, this soft-on-crime administration cut hundreds of millions of dollars in public safety and crime prevention funds. I mean, It's funny how they want to stand up on that soapbox when they were preaching defund the police for literally years, but now they want to pretend that that never even happened. It's hilarious how Democrats have the memory of a goldfish these days.
General, it's my job to grill you. Investigation of your agency.
It's my job to grill you? No, it's not. That's not your job, is to grill people. Your job is to try to find the fucking truth, man. Your job is to get to the bottom of whatever it is you're investigating. To grill? Wow,
It's
man.
part of my responsibility.
What an asshole.
This committee. You may not like the experience, but others have weathered the storm.
That's pretty revealing
and
as to the
questions
state
in
of
a
the Democrats
respectful manner.
today.
Can you tell me the grants,
Yes.
ranking member, please?
Take a look at the president's budget on HIDA grants. What happens to it in his proposed budget?
I'd be glad to meet with you on the
It's
grants.
cut by 1/3 from $300 million to 196. That's one example of a grant that works, and your administration has suggested cutting it in the budget lies ahead.
Okay, well, I think that's fair. I think she should actually look into it if she's not knowledgeable about it and find out why they're cutting it. Was there rampant fraud or not? Probably not fraud when it comes to, well, maybe. I mean, they are grants at the end of the day. Maybe these grants were going to fraudulent entities, or maybe it was just wasted on nonsense. Maybe they did get to the bottom of it and found out, well, you know, these grants are still important because they cut it by 1/3. Now, if they got rid of it completely, yeah, I would have questions. But if they cut it by 1/3, there's got to be a reason why they cut it by 1/3. It's probably because, 33% of that money perhaps is going to certain entities that really don't benefit from it, or I don't know. Who knows? Who knows, man? Anyway, let's see. Chad Gilmartin, AG Pam Bondi, on Biden's weaponization of government. Operation Arctic Frost was an unconstitutional, undemocratic abuse of power that targeted Republican senators and Republican organizations, including Charlie Kirk's Turning Point. Let's take a look.
Chairman Grassley, that's what we've been talking about when we refer to the weaponization of government. Operation Arctic Frost was an unconstitutional, undemocratic abuse of power. During Arctic Frost, the FBI also placed 92 linked Republican individuals and Republican groups, such as Charlie Kirk's Turning Point, on their list.
Whoa. I believe Arctic Frost is in relation to the 8 senators that were being spied on. So she's revealing right now to the extent as to which they were extending this operation, even going as far as to digging into Turning Point. It's so crazy how far Democrats are going these days, making Watergate look like absolutely nothing whatsoever. I mean, just the whole spying on the Trump campaign alone was way worse. Getting or tapping their phones and all that shit, like that was damn near 10 years ago at this point. And it's crazy the more that we find out and how far-reaching it really is that they're spying on their opposition. And I haven't heard of anything that the Democrats dug up that the Republicans are spying on them at all. I don't really see that. It's very one-sided and it lacks any consequences. So really like to see if anything happens as a result of this, but I've got very little faith that anything's going to end up happening.
This is the kind of conduct that shattered the American people's faith in our government, as I said in my opening
one of
statement.
many.
We are ending this weaponization. Our FBI is targeting violent criminals, child predators, and...
No, look, when Democrats get back in, because there probably will come another day when a Democrat will become president, because that's just kind of how it goes. It goes back and forth over the period of time. And if a Democrat gets back into the Oval Office, I'm sure they're going to get right back to this weaponization again, probably ratchet it up even higher, even more especially if there's no indictments, no prison, no nothing as a result of this investigation.
Other lawbreakers, not sitting senators who happen to be from the wrong political party. Several of your colleagues sitting at this dais were targeted, and others. We will continue to stop that throughout the Justice Department. That is the ultimate weaponization of government.
Yeah, it is, man. Spying on your opposition for what reason? What good reason do you have to spy on, especially sitting senators and members of Congress? Why? All right, another one for Chad Gilmartin. Senator Durbin is wrong. AG Pam Bondi, the Justice Department, answered Senator Durbin's letter regarding the Qatari jet on August 12th.
This gift clearly violates the statutory regime enacted by Congress. You've refused to answer a letter I sent to you 5 months ago, asking the legal rationale you relied on to advise President Trump accept this unprecedented gift from your former legal client. Can you make a promise today that you will disclose that?
All right. Again, I wish they would have added a little bit more to that. I'm not too knowledgeable about the whole Qatari jet thing. I don't know if they're refitting it to make it like a Air Force One or something. I don't think so. I don't know. I really don't know a whole lot about it. I just know it was a gift, but I don't think it was a gift to Trump himself. I think it was a gift to the government, but maybe it was a gift to him. I honestly don't know for sure. Anyway, so Senate Judiciary Democrat Senator Schiff, you've refused to answer questions about ethics, the Qatari plane, the Epstein files, Tom Homan's alleged bribery, political prosecutions, and military authorization. Bondi, she tries to interrupt. Schiff, excuse me, this is an oversight hearing. We demand answers. It's kind of a long one, but to be fair, I'll play out both sides. What the fuck was that in the background? Hold on a minute. They said you took a $50,000 in cash in a bag, and then he said, "I did nothing criminal." I think there's a lot between these lines here that you actually failed to include. I didn't see this interview with Lauren Ingram, but at least the Department of Justice had said that they looked into it and they found no wrongdoing, that he didn't take any money. And in fact, it looks like the Democrats may be criminally, or they could be criminally charged for trying to set him up. Entrapment or some shit like that.
I think it's valuable that the American people get a sense of what you've refused to answer today. So these are just some of the questions you refused to answer.
Ongoing investigations?
Or have answered
Probably
with
won't
personal
talk about
attacks
it.
on members of this committee. You were asked whether you consulted with career ethics lawyers, as you promised you would do during your nomination hearing, when you approved the president receiving a $400 million gift from the Qataris. You refused to answer that question. You were asked who or what role you may have played, or who played the role in asking that Trump's name be flagged in any of the Epstein documents gathered by the FBI. You refused to answer that question.
Yeah, and that sounds like that Democrats are really going to fall on their face over this, because it suggests so far, I don't think anything definitive has come out yet, but it's starting to suggest that Trump was involved with Epstein, but he was used as an FBI informant, and he actually reported to the FBI anything that he saw that may have been going on during his time as a member with or his membership with Mar-a-Lago or something like that. Like, apparently the only involvement Trump had with regard to Jeffrey Epstein was that he was giving information to the FBI against Jeffrey Epstein. Fucking wild, man. I hope we get to the bottom of that and it actually turns out that's exactly the case, because that would be fucking hilarious, man.
You were asked whether Homan kept the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Homan paid taxes.
Okay, well, she should have answered that one, because from what I've heard, he didn't take the money, and that was definitive. He didn't take any money. They tried to give it to him, and he absolutely refused to take it. That's what I heard.
The $50,000 bribe money, you refused to answer that question. You were asked, did career
She probably answered it, though.
find insufficient evidence to charge James Comey?
She probably didn't answer it in the way he wanted her to. See how the games
You
they
were
play?
asked, how are military strikes on these boats in the Caribbean legal? And you refused to even answer that question.
What does that have to do with AG Pam Bondi? Wouldn't that have to do with, I don't know, like the Pentagon or the Department of Defense, or Department of War? Or maybe that's more of a Congress matter. I'm not sure how the Department of Justice would have oversight over the military targeting of narco-terrorists that are trying to transport drugs into the United States. And even still, why the fuck would you have a problem with that? Do you have any idea how many like thousands of kilos that they've blown out of the water that we're trying to get to the United States? Or at least that's what the government's telling us. They're telling us that these boats are heading to the United States, but I've already had my questions with regard to that, because these boats, they look like speedboats that probably don't have a distance to travel like 1,000, 2,000 miles across the Caribbean Sea to reach American shores, but they might just be traveling to some other island where they're going to transport it to some other, of course, they don't tell us everything as to what's going on with that. They just tell us that they're narco-terrorists and they're blowing them up in the water or out just off the coast of Venezuela.
You were asked, law degree, excuse me.
Do you have a law degree?
Asked,
I would not be surprised if he does.
Did you discuss indicting James Comey with the president? You refused to answer that question. You were asked, did you approve the firing of antitrust lawyers who disagreed with
She's not as good as Kash Patel, man. Kash Patel was just absolutely eviscerating all of them. That was amazing.
You were asked whether you support a restoration fund for violent insurrections to attack the Capitol on January 6th. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether you were firing career professionals, career prosecutors, just because they worked on January 6th investigations. You refused to answer that question.
I'm sure they were politically motivated.
My California colleague whether you believe government officials, like immigration officials, have to abide by court orders. You wouldn't even answer that question.
I'm sure because it probably depends on a number of factors. That does not sound like a black and white question. If certain members have to abide by court orders with regard to immigration enforcement, I'm sure there's instances where they don't, and I'm sure there's instances where they might.
This is supposed to be an oversight hearing.
Oversight?
Excuse me.
Oh, my God.
You can attack me after my time is over.
You've attacked all of us, including President Trump, for your entire career.
You can attack me later, and I know you've got plenty of canned attacks. We've heard them all.
I'm starting to cringe a little.
Canned attacks on you?
This is supposed to be...
No one needs a canned attack on you.
Regular order, Madam Chair. I'm trying to speak. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing of the Justice Department. And it comes in the wake of an indictment called for by the president of one of his enemies. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing, and it comes in the wake of revelations that a top administration official took $50,000 in a bag, and this department made that investigation go away.
Yeah, but there's also a big question that if Democrats are even more guilty for entrapment on that matter.
This is supposed to be an oversight hearing when dozens of prosecutors have been fired simply because they worked on cases investigating the former president. This is, and now the current president.
What about the fires in California?
And
Do you care about that senatorship?
This is supposed to be
Fair
an
point.
Oversight hearing.
Not the right venue for that.
In which
but I get it.
Members of Congress can get serious answers to serious questions about
Are the riots in LA serious?
About the cover-up of corruption. About
she might have something to say about that.
Prosecution of the president's enemies. And
I think you owe the president an apology.
When will it be
frankly,
that the members of this committee on a bipartisan basis demand answers to those questions?
All right, whatever. That was just boring as hell. He really wasn't going anywhere with that. There was no bombshells he was going over. It was just random questions. They weren't ridiculous questions, but they were just, that was a waste of time. Anyway, Senate Judiciary Republicans. AG Pam Bondi addresses Chairman Chuck Grassley's bombshell discovery that the Biden FBI was spying on Republican senators. And she gives a quote. I'll just play it.
As to ending the weaponization of justice, we learned that former FBI secretly investigated you and your colleagues. Why? They wanted to take President Trump off the playing field. They were playing politics with law enforcement powers and will go down as a historic betrayal of public trust. This is the kind of conduct that shatters the American people's faith in our law enforcement system.
All right. Let's move on. It looks like that's all I got, actually, from the hearing. And again, I'll link the entire thing on cspan.org. You can watch the whole thing right here. Also on the Judiciary website, if you'd rather watch it there. I would probably watch it at C-SPAN, but that's just me.